I bow to all the seekers of truth. We have to understand that God has created us as human beings with a purpose. But in those modern times when we don't even believe in God or in a creator or any such energy that exists, it's very hard to talk of God and to introduce Him to be the one who has made us human beings. But even Darwin said that if man has come so far, he will have to go a little further to understand himself. I would suggest that one has to only understand one point, that whatever we have so far known has been the knowledge of the tree. But we have to have the knowledge of the roots. To get the knowledge of the roots, we have to become subtler than what we are. This awareness, this human awareness, cannot take us that side. For example, you are all listening to me very intensely, but if I say, please take your attention inside, you'll say, how? Mother, it's impossible. How do we take our attention inside? It's only possible when something happens within you, that your attention is drawn inside. Then only you will come to know that you are a beautiful instrument made through ages. All these centers that are shown here represent your evolutionary process, one by one, how you evolved through ages to this stage of evolution. And now, after evolving up to the human stage, what do we have to do? So we come to right conclusions about ourselves, first of all, that we have to become something more. Something has to happen to us. Now, so far in our evolution, whatever has happened in our awareness. A Sanskrit called Chetana. Means a horse can go through a dirty lane. A dog can go through a dirty lane. But a human being cannot. He just can't bear it. He'll vomit, he'll refuse, he'll not accept at any cost to pass through something very filthy. So our awareness towards dirt, filth, towards beauty has definitely got a new dimension. And this new dimension that we have got is not sufficient enough, because still we have not understood why are we here. Why all this has been done to create us into such a beautiful personality. What is the purpose of this creation? And in this confusion only, we really fall into the traps of not understanding that there must be some power that does it. It is very easy to deny the power of God, because who is there to challenge it? Or who is going to say that how dare you deny? Supposing you have a policeman, he is elected by you, so you cannot overthrow him, or you have to listen to him. But God is not elected by you, he is appointed by himself. So as he is there, you can always say whatever you like about him. But the same thing is to understand that actually human beings don't do any work which is living. We cannot transform one flower into a fruit. Even one. What we do is to take some dead things, make buildings, make beautiful furniture, make these carpets all man-made, every sort of thing. And then we start thinking, oh, we are great. Even the science can only find whatever is available or can be seen through these eyes or felt through these senses. It cannot go beyond it. And even if it sometimes goes like the auras and all that they see, they cannot explain it. For example, if if there is any doctor, they will understand that doctors are honest on this point, that acetylcholine and adrenaline, acetylcholine and adrenaline, two chemicals, which are chemicals, just chemicals, react differently in the body, and they say that the mode of action of these two we cannot explain, why it is augmentation or why it is relaxation. They admit it. So many things we have not been able to explain. Now, if I say this is a beautiful instrument and it is fantastic to believe that we are great, I would just give another simple example, that if you have to come to this room and there is no light, I just tell you, all right, push that button and you'll get lights everywhere. No, it happens. It becomes a fantastic thing for a person who has never seen electricity, who has never known anything, who has no knowledge of electricity, that only you press one button and you get it. But behind all this organism, behind all this working, all that is done, there is a big history. There are lots of people who have worked to achieve this. People have sacrificed so much to achieve this. But we are taking the benefit of that, as today we are enjoying electricity. How many people must have died discovering it? How many people must have sacrificed their life for discovering the use of it for the masses? In the same way, we must understand that maybe that we are something fantastic, reach a conclusion that we have to just feel it. And unless and until you feel that greatness within you, you should not just deny that you can achieve it. You have to achieve it. Actually, if you do not achieve it, you will fall short of your evolution. Today in the world, if you see, everywhere I go, there are so many seekers, so many seekers. Such a time was never there before, say about 50 years back, we did not know the word seekers. People did not believe that there are seekers. But today, you find so many seekers all over the world. They have gone to all kinds of other alternative things. They have tried to find out if they can find truth by altering their lives, by doing this or by doing that. The reason is they are not at all satisfied with what they see. They are intelligent enough to see that it's not the end of our lives, and we don't live just for insurances. Now, then one starts thinking that if these are the seekers in this world, why so many have come on this earth? This is a special time, already predicted thousands and thousands of years back. In every kind of prediction, they have talked about it. There was a book called Nadi Granth written, you can't say how many years back, but was revised only 300 years back by another person called Bhujandar. Now this Nadi Granth is written by a person who is actually the starting point of astrology in India. The one who started the whole astrology has been started from India. And this is the man Bhrigu who did it. And he wrote this Nadi Granth, in which he has described, according to him, he said it in Sanskrit language, but was again translated and brought to up-to-date level, that in 1970, something will happen, a personality will come on this earth who will give realization to thousands of people by a Sahaja method. It's clearly written down. You will be amazed to know that it is so, because we have a book. In that book, all these prophecies are written. And what will happen? The Kundalini will rise and people will get their realization. To Indians, Kundalini is not a new knowledge. Of course, there are some people who went from other countries and tried to study about Kundalini. Now, when such people come to India, they do not reach the roots at all. They are just caught up by people who want to make money out of them or to mislead them. It's a big market there for all such things. And now when these people also came, especially the Germans, when they came to India, they were caught up into such mess. And they were given books which were nothing but just the opposite of what Kundalini is. It's about the people who are doing Tantrism. And Tantrism is a system in which people do anti-God activity. With anti-God activity, you get all kinds of horrible experiences of God and the Kundalini, and they have described all of them as if they are the real effects of Kundalini. It's like the knowledge of a naive villager coming and putting his hands into the holes of a plug and saying that electricity gives you a big shock. So it is even worse than that, because Kundalini never gives you trouble. She is your mother. She settled down here in the triangular bone, as you see, is called as sacrum. Now this sacrum bone is, sacrum means sacred. And when I ask people that how is it that this bone is called as sacred in Greek? When I went to Greece, I asked the people, why do you call this a sacrum? Then they told me that they had a report long time back before Alexander went to India, and there was a report between Indo-Aryan groups, and they told that this bone should be called as sacrum. Now imagine that this bone specially should be called as sacrum and no other bone. So this bone has got this 3.5 coil energy settled down inside there. Now some of these books that I have read, such big books written on Kundalini, some of them say the Kundalini is here, somebody says in the nose, somebody says somewhere else. Means that just using the ignorance of people to print something, write something, and just mislead them to make some money out of these books. So far I have not written any book. I'm sorry, I have not yet done any that work so far. But anything can be written in the book. Whatever is written in the book is not the truth, and you should not accept it. How much does it take to print a book? You people are living in such an advanced country. You know, it hardly takes anything to write a book about anything, especially about God and His work. Because even, you'll be amazed that Hitler used to talk about God, Napoleon used to talk about God, all these horrible people used to talk about God, and sometimes they believed that God was in their favor because they thought they were rather successful. Now, these books or whatever they have told you is not true. This is the truth, that the Kundalini lies in your sacred bone called sacrum. You can see the pulsation of the Kundalini at the time when the Kundalini is raised, not in everyone. If you have got a blockage in that another center that is there, or the upper center, then this Kundalini, because this is the pure desire of becoming one with God. This is the purest desire which you have, and when it is awakened, it makes an effort, a tremendous effort. But I have seen some people have Kundalinis which are just hurt, like a beaten up snake. It just does. It tosses its head on all the sides and tries to get out, but it cannot, because the gentleman or the seeker who has got this Kundalini within himself, his own mother, has hurt her so much that she cannot raise her head. She is very tired and she wants the supply of more energy to rise. So when people are here, I have to tell you one thing, that it's nice that you have come for realization, you should take it. But you can't demand it. You can't demand it. For today, I've found one gentleman was just shaking before me like this, all the time. So he said, why am I shaking before you? I said, because your nerves are out. You are a nervous person. That's why you are shaking, all your nerves are out. I have to steady them, otherwise the Kundalini won't rise and you won't feel the cool breeze. Because Kundalini is now attending to those nerve centers which are absolutely overdone. They're absolutely fagged out and tired. He is a young man, about 25 years. I am an old woman. But I said, look at my hands are not shaking. Why should your hands shake like an old man of 80 years all the time? You must think about it. Why should they think? Should happen. So this is what it is, that some people get it. Most of them get it, but some cannot get it. Now the attitude should be little different from what you have towards anybody else. Here you have to get something out of me. You have to make use of me. Not that I have to use you for any purpose whatsoever. It should be clear-cut. that you are asking for something. You deserve it, no doubt. It's like you go to the bank, all right? There's a banker sitting there. If you have some money in the bank, you can go and talk to him, but you can't be rude with the banker. You have to say, all right, I have got this money with you, please may I have? Now the grace of God is so gracious that it gives you many-fold much more than what you have really reserved in the bank. I can see that working out so well. So we have to understand that we are made in our own glory. God has made us a fantastic thing. We are a great instrument that has to receive its blessings. And as this instrument is put to the mains, once you put to your mains, you will be surprised how fantastic you are. It's amazing how people are not aware of themselves. It is amazing how people do not know how precious they are to the divine. Human beings are the epitome of this creation. Forget the moon, forget the sun, forget this earth. Everything is nothing. It's at your feet. You are the highest that God has created, and the way we fritter away our life for nothing at all, for superficial things, is something very, very surprising. We are not at all aware that how much the nature has worked for us to make us human beings. And once you realize that you are the spirit, realize doesn't mean that you just realize through your mental process. It is a happening within which takes place. You become that, and once you become that, you'll be amazed that your becoming will prove that you are really the epitome. You are the meaning. You are everything, and without you the creation has no meaning at all. It's like a tree which has now the flowers, and they have to become the fruits, otherwise the tree has no meaning at all. But whatever we do mentally is artificial, because it has no roots attached to it. It has no moorings to it. Now you say your politics or your economics, all is artificial. But in that also you can find a lot of truth. For example, economics says that wants in general are not satiable. Individual wants can be satisfied, but wants in general are not satiable. Means this matter cannot give us satisfaction. If we could, then we would have been satisfied with one thing. But we buy one thing, then we want to buy another thing, and then we want to buy another thing, and still we are the most dissatisfied souls ever living on this earth. Now, economics another, then politics we can see is that people talk of, say, communism, they talk of socialism, they talk of democracy, of capitalism. It is also artificial to me. It's just a play of human beings. Because when you say you are a capitalist, what is your capital? This you can't take with you. It's of no use. You don't want to share it. What's the use of such a capital? While I would say I am a capitalist because I have all the powers within myself. And I am the greatest communist because I can't live without sharing it. I just can't help it. You see, people can't understand me. They think you are a nicely married lady, your husband is such a nice person, is such a nice gentleman, he loves you so much, he cares for you so much, you are a grandmother, you are a mother, and why are you doing all this and running about everywhere talking to people? They can't understand this communism, which is so important to me that I cannot get my joy without sharing it with others. It's something which people have to gradually take in. And once they take in, they become themselves. It's my job that I have to give you what you have. It's your own. I do not do anything about it. It's your own. All you are built in that way. Only thing what I do, like a candle which is enlightened, can enlighten any other candle which is ready. But some people will escape saying, I am not ready. Now you let me find out if you are ready or not. That's another side of it. Mother, we are sinners. We are not ready. Now you let me do the job for you. I may be able to put the candle right. Why do you condemn yourself? This is the other side of it. Sometimes people get into ego moods, and sometimes they get into such a super ego mood that they say, Mother, oh, we are no good, we are sinners, we have done this, we have done that. Now forget it. If I don't know the job, then I better not do it. But I think I know it. I have done it. So let me do it, and let us see if I can give what you have. Because that is supposed to be God's promise that you have to get your resurrection, that you have to become self-realized, that you are to be born again, and all this has been done within you with this aim and is not to be wasted. I don't know how many in Melbourne are going to get it, how many are going to get in Sydney. That's besides the point. It depends on how much you care for yourself. But wherever I go, I will try my level best to do it. Now, how I cure people and what happens, actual curing is not at all my job. It's just a byproduct by which you get cured completely. Because once you get to your absolute and you get to the source, which is all pervading, which starts flowing through you, then your problem is solved. You never get exhausted, you never get upset. It's all solved. The whole energy works it out. So the compassion that people talk of, that we are very compassionate and we are very peace-loving and all that, is so superficial. This is the compassion that it works. It works, it doesn't talk, it just works. This is the peace that exists, that you feel, is expressed within you. And without a person of that caliber, if he stays with other people who are turbulent, who are volcanic, who are violent, they become peaceful. It works. That's what it is. You must know that whatever people are saying to you, it must work. Like going to other gurus, to other people, you should know that it has not given you any power of your own. Leave alone whatever they have to say about me. I am this, I am that, I am that. Forget it. What I am saying, what are you? You have to receive your own significance. You have to understand your own meaning. And if it works in you, then it's all right. That's what you should ask anyone if you go to and say that, can you give me my own powers, not your powers? You may be very great and you might be doing something. But people are so ridiculously superficial, that a person, if he buys 58 Rolls Royce out of the money of loots that they have out of these people who go to them, we think, oh, he has 58 Rolls Royce. Such a man can impress these English who could not be impressed by anything else if he has a big cavalcade or a big procession or these 58 looted Rolls Royce on the road. Then people say, oh, what a guru he is, he's got 58 Rolls Royce. Yes, you won't believe. And he wanted to have the 59th one. And he went away to America. And he wrote a letter saying that if you give me the 59th, I'll come. The poor boys, you see, they suffered, they ate only potatoes, they starved themselves. There are 50,000 still in UK. Absolutely cabbages, lost people, absolutely lost. You can't talk to them. They shake when you go before them. They can't understand it is all finished there. Nothing, they are all lost people. And if you go and tell them, how can you get a Rolls Royce for a sadhu? He's a sannyasi, he says. How can you give him a Rolls Royce? So they say, we have got the spirit. Means some spirit has possessed them, you see. We have got the spirit and we have to give just metal. What is in Rolls Royce is metal. But why don't they think, why does the guru thinks that this metal is precious? You see, we don't use our brains at all when you go to gurus. Surprisingly. If he says, I will make you fly, all right, at least you should ask the guru to fly. Why not make him fly and see if he can fly or not? At least minimum of minimum that you should do, isn't it? But that also we never do. We just accept it. Because he has a big organization and he has a big publicity, because you can pass through 7 rooms to reach him, and all that he creates a feeling, and then you think, oh, it's great to fly. And if somebody says that, go and ask that guru to fly, people don't like it. They don't want to hear anything about it. And then you pay thousands and thousands of pounds to them. You end up as penniless people, as epileptic people, and you can't understand what wrong it was. You didn't use your brains. You didn't use your brains. I would say, I know, I must condemn all these devilish people who have ruined so many seekers, because they are seeking truth. They are my children. They are my own. I know, I feel very sorry for that. You don't know how much I want to work, that I should save all of them, but I also should tell you that this is your mistake. You misunderstand. You don't know that you can't pay for your realization, you can't pay for God. Christ was bought for 30 rupees is a very good example to understand. He was bought to be killed. Another example is that when people were selling some things in the temple, he took a big whip and whipped them, absolutely in a great temper, who said on the cross that, please God forgive them, for they do not know what they are doing. But now it is so sad that if you do like that, you won't be able to forgive yourself. Christ may be, but you may not be able to forgive yourself for doing all these mistakes and committing such horrible injuries upon yourself and troubling your kundalini to that extent. This self-realization you have been seeking for ages, many lives. You have been seekers for many lives, and the time has come. This great time of resurrection, the great time of your judgment, at this time you should take it up, that you have to be self-realized. Only this is my message to you. I hope you will understand it. May God bless. I would like you to ask me some questions because today is the first day. But ask relevant question. Some people, you see, just ask questions just to show off. Then I would say they should take another hall to give a lecture there. But normally, some people start giving another lecture to me, you see, and instead of my lecture, I have to listen to their lecture, which has no relevance to it, you see. So I would request you not to waste others' time, be civil to them, and ask questions which are relevant to the subject. Thank you very much.
Right. Any questions? Each night, Mataji is going to be speaking here.
Keep the cane on one side.
Each night, Mataji is going to be speaking here. She'll be talking tomorrow night about the centers that lie up to the heart, and the next night, the centers that lie to the Sahasrara, in particular the chakra of the Sahasrara. So, any particular questions about the individual centers within us, she'll be explaining on a day-by-day basis. So any questions thus far?
I'd like to know if having a vertebrae in the spine out of place interferes with the rising of Kundalini.
Does having a vertebrae out of place in the spine interfere with the rising of Kundalini?
It does, to some extent, it does. Definitely it does, but we can put it right. The vertebrae can be put right and the Kundalini can be brought in. It does. So many things do happen. If you are a person over-read, if you have read too many books and the books are in your head, I have to empty that also.
I actually do this work as a profession, and I find that if the subtle center is fixed, the spinal problems just disappear. I used to have 3 and 4 adjustments a week to correct my spine, and now I have none at all. So first fix the subtle within us, and then the gross part, the spinal misalignments and so on, will just get better. Any others? Yes.
Do you feel that there can be a difference between in marriage, that people can be married on earth in a seemingly holy way, but there is really a difference in a marriage of soul than there is in many marriages, so-called marriages?
I hear that.
I'm not too sure, but earthly marriages, which seem to be okay, but you're saying a mismarriage of souls, perhaps, but maybe there is some sort of mismarriage in some way of souls of those same people. Can there be a perfectly normal, as we call it, earthly marriage, and perhaps a mismarriage of souls in a heavenly sense?
You see, the spirit in every being is perfect. Everybody's spirit is perfect. There's no imperfection with it. But some people have a more reflection of the spirit in their character, and some people don't have. They have more darkness and more, we can say, outward look, materialistic, you can call them, or you can call them they're over romantic type, any sort of thing which is outside. But doesn't matter. We have seen people who have been married before, they said they're maladjusted. I would say 90% such marriages are now doing well. But maybe there could be terrible difference also between the two persons, as you say, is possible. But that is to be seen. Just now you should not worry about it. If there is any maladjustment, it might be put right. If it doesn't work out, then you have to work out the correction as far as possible. See, it is said, karmanyeva adhikaraste, is that which we can do the work. We can work it out as far as possible. But if it doesn't work, forget it. That's it. But once you are a realized soul, you become so congenial, so tolerant, so understanding. Actually, your being itself corrects another person. But maybe some people can be such gone cases that whatever you may try, that may not come back. So it's not important to worry about those things. We'll see later on how the thing is and how it has to be worked out. All right?
Would you please explain more about the realization process when it comes out of the top of your head?
Could you explain self-realization, and in particular how it manifests on your hands and how it comes out of the top of your head?
It just comes out. You see, how will you explain how does a primule or the germ of a seed comes out? It's like that. It's a living process, as I said. The Kundalini rises, and when she enlightens all other centers, she passes through them, and then when she comes up here, at this point is very important in human beings, is bestowed, or we can say that it is governed by the deity of Lord Jesus Christ. And he sucks in these two institutions called ego and superego. By that, there's an opening made and the Kundalini just jets out and you can feel it coming out of your head. This is the actualization of baptism. It's not something artificial that you take water and put it on somebody's head and say that you are baptized in here. The child is screaming in that baptism. So it's an actualization, it's a living process, how it works. But while rising, of course, lots of things happen, like the chakras go into various moods, they try to sustain the Kundalini, they try to keep it there, all these things happen. These happen when the Kundalini is awakened, not before that. That's why, like somebody talks of Raja Yoga, that you cut your tongue, push it back and do the khechari, and by that you can raise your Kundalini. Which is absurd, you see. Like the car has not started, so you move the wheels and the car will start. But when the Kundalini is rising, this tongue is little bit pulled inside, no doubt, automatically. You don't feel it also. Slightly it is pulled inside and is released again. But by cutting this tongue and putting it back, do you think the Kundalini will rise? It's so superficial, it's so artificial. And that's how they have done all these things. Even now, for example, Hatha Yoga that we do is, of course, Hatha Yoga is Ashtangas. It's not only one that we call as yoga is standing on your head. It's not the only thing. It is Ashtangas. There are 8 things. And in that also, Ishvara Pranidhara means the establishment of God is the first. Because before the Kundalini has started, if you start doing any exercises, you may be harming yourself. Because you don't know where is the problem. Supposing you have a problem in the stomach and you are doing the exercises of the nose, what's the use? You will spoil the nose as well as the stomach is already bad. So it's very indiscriminate, it's very scientific. The mantras are the same thing. Where to say which mantras, what chakras are catching, which deity is to be awakened, we must know all the science behind it. And everybody knows, there is no secret about it. There is not a thing you come here inside and you pay me 300 pounds and I give you a mantra. Alright, that mantra you are not to tell anybody, because that mantra means nothing. You see, There was a fellow who paid 300 pounds, and I asked him what was the mantra. He said, Tinga. Now, if you tell an Indian, he will just laugh. If he hears what it means this. Can you imagine such nonsense? And don't tell anybody, it's a big mafia. Don't tell anybody. Just keep quiet. If you tell anybody, then because you are found out. You cannot give one mantra. Is another funny idea people have, that you just give one mantra to somebody. Of course, I mean, if you have a problem at a particular point, one can say that at this time you say this mantra to clear out. But then later on, you don't go on with it. Then you do the one where you need, require. Isn't it? It's simple as that. Supposing we are suffering from some trouble, we take medicine for that particular thing. And then when we are suffering from another trouble, we take another medicine for that particular thing. We don't go on taking the same medicine whether it is anything. So it is a very scientific knowledge which you will pick up in no time. 8 days are sufficient to learn the whole of Sahaja. Once you get your realization, that's the main point.
Excuse me, does meditating interfere with all this?
What is?
Does meat eating interfere with this process?
Not at all. But you see, you have to understand what sort of a personality you are. If you are the right-sided personality, then you should not eat meat. You should take to something milder. I call them grass eating. You can do. But if you have, say, you are a left-sided person, then you have to take meat. You see, I would say in general that Australians should not eat so much meat as they eat. They eat a bit too much. They should take more vegetables. But Indians should eat some meat, because otherwise they'll become cowards. So it is what sort of a personality it is. I don't know from where this idea has come that vegetarianism is going to take to God. In India, most of the people are vegetarians because they can't afford it, you see.
No. I don't think a lot of their actions here is to take to God, because I think
Yes, but it is not important for everyone. What I am saying, as it is, we have to understand, we have to be discreet. We have to understand who needs what. Everybody need not take vegetarian food. Everybody need not take non-vegetarian food. It's the prakriti, they call it, the nature of a person. You must find out what is the nature of the person. If supposing he is suffering from high blood pressure and other things like that, he has to take to food which will control his, which will give him another side, means he should stop eating meats and things like that. All right, so he balances himself, to balance himself. The whole food theory is to be understood through the understanding of your being, first of all, what sort of a being you are, and what is lacking in you is to be supplemented. So we just can't say that now so many people now, in doctors, if you go to them, they'll say, cut down your sugar, general. But it's absurd. Sugar is very important for liver. If you don't take sugar, I don't know what will happen to you. You'll become like sticks, absolutely like sticks. If those people who are right-sided, if they don't take sugar at all, I don't know what's going to happen to them. They'll be very irritable, hot-tempered, absolutely stick-like people. They'll hit you like a stick, So that's something, a general statement like that is very dangerous. Just not to have. But what is the science behind it? Carbohydrates are very important for the body, especially if you are thinking too much, if you are a futuristic person, if you are right-sided. It's absolutely essential that you must have sufficient carbohydrates. We have treated so many liver patients with sugar. So this kind of a general statement, even, sorry for that. I must say the doctors should not feel hurt, but it's a very general statement doctors also make. No doubt about it. Without going into it to find it. It's very easy to say, now, you all should stop sugars. Why? Our forefathers ate sugars, they were healthier people than us, I tell you. All of us are sick now. This way or that other. If physically we are all right, mentally we are out. If we are mentally out, then we think that physically we are all right. So we have a satisfaction, but I think both are just the same. So we have to be discreet in anything that we do. It cannot be a fad, it cannot be an ism, it cannot be a hard and fast diet. It's all made for you. God has made everything for you. You must understand what we should eat, what will suit us. That is to be found out on a person, what sort of a personality he is. In our Sahaja Yoga, many people take to vegetables and many people have to take to meat eating, and by that they have improved their health very much. He is one who was suffering from high blood pressure, God knows how many things. He just dropped it like that, and he keeps low on meats, I think.
Do you find that more people today are sicker in general than they were 50 years ago?
No doubt. Because the time has come to see. This is the time you are born for this. Many children are born realized this. So many children. Now we have in our ashram about 9 children, very beautiful ones, all born realized. Absolutely there. You can talk to them better than you can talk to even a very well educated person. When I talk to them, I just find I am just one with them. So this is the time, the resurrection time. This is the time that is the last judgment, and that's why so many have taken birth for their judgment. All right?
No, I didn't ask this kind of thinking. I asked sick in the head, malad.
Sick, physically sick.
Physically sick.
She's asking whether more people are sicker today than they were 50 years ago. But the question is obvious. I think medical science and statistics have proven this, so I don't think there's any question there.
No, but what she's saying physically...
You want to know why? She wants to know why.
Because you think they are physically sick, is it? Your judgment? No. You see, they are physically sick because they have lost their roots. They are gone to extremes and imbalances. We cannot go to imbalance. You see, religion is to keep yourself in balance. There are 10 religions in the human being, like 10 valencies. As carbon has 4 valencies, we have 10 valencies, about which all the primordial masters who came on this earth have taught. Like Lao Tse, like Socrates, we can say Abraham, Moses, and many in India also. They came and told us that we should keep the balance. Balance our life, keep in the center for the ascent. If you are not balanced, you cannot ascend. But people have gone to extremes. They are fadist. Whatever you tell them, if you tell them that, see, now you are not well, so you do something, they will do it so much that they'll outwit everything. They always go to the extreme of everything. So that's how the problems are there. But it doesn't matter. But moreover, we are sick because we are seeking, because we are not satisfied. We feel unhappy, we can't sleep, we don't know why we are living. It's the other way round. We are not seeking because we are sick, but we are sick because we are seeking.
Why is the Kundalini identified as a female form?
What?
Why is Kundalini identified as a female form?
Because it is the power of God. And God is regarded as He. And the Kundalini as the mother. He as the father and the Holy Ghost as the mother. She is the Holy Ghost. So because He is the father, we have to have a lady with Him. So we call her the mother. And one should not feel bad about it. Men should not feel bad at all, because you all had a mother. You could not have come on this earth without a mother. You just can't help it. That's how the nature is. You have to accept the fact. Mother is a surety, isn't it? Yes, please.
Just first hear it, then you.
Does Mother have a guru? At what point did she gain self-realization?
Do you have a guru, and at what stage did you receive self-realization?
I neither have a guru nor I want you to have a guru. You better become your own gurus. Secondly, I've been born like that. I never got any realization or anything. I just got realization, I should say human realization, when I understood what was the problem with human beings. I worked on all permutations and combinations of human beings because I wanted to have an mass media by which I could give realization to thousands of people. Because any discovery which is made and is not brought to that level, it is absolutely detrimental to the growth. For example, a you see, Jesus was crucified. Why? Because he was alone. Only for his mother, nobody knew what he was. At that time, he could not achieve this because you all were not there at that time. And also, other people, you know how the saints have suffered, how every prophet has suffered, because they could not create a mass understanding of it. So at a certain point, it has to become a mass thing. In the tree of life, there are only 3 or 4 flowers in the beginning. But when it grows, when the blossom time comes, then so many flowers are there and they become the fruits. So I just saw that this is the time I have to do this job. So you would call it my human realization when I understood human beings. Of course, even now, sometimes I get shocked the way they behave. I mean, I just don't understand. But I think now I understand them.
For those people who can't quite understand that answer, don't think about it
There's
too much.
another gentleman who was asking a question.
Mother has to be somebody special, but find out for yourself. That's the best way.
You don't worry about me, you worry about
Yes.
yourself. I must be someone all right. Even if I'm not, doesn't matter. If you are going to get it, why not have it? The gentleman there.
Yes.
Yes, please.
This lecture is you give it today, tomorrow, next day. I think on the system of the whole body, or just one stomach.
No. Tonight she just gave an introductory lecture. Tomorrow night and the next night she'll cover complete